So, what do you think is the single most powerful force inside a company? I'll give you a hint. It's not the CEO, it's not the product, and it's not even the profits. Today, we're diving into the invisible engine that really drives success or failure. We're talking about company culture. You felt this, right? You walk into one workplace and there's this buzz. You can feel the energy, the collaboration, the new ideas just flying around. And then you walk into another, and it feels like you've just stepped back in time, into a museum of how we've always done things. So, what is it? What creates that massive difference? Well, that secret ingredient, that vibe, that's the invisible engine we're talking about. It's what we call organizational culture. And it's basically the personality of a company. So let's break down what that actually means. Think of it like this. Culture is the unwritten rule book for how things really get done. Are meetings a place for open debate, or are they just a place where everyone nods along with the boss? Is failure seen as a learning opportunity, or is it something to be hidden? Is information shared freely, or is it hoarded? All of that's culture. And listen, this isn't just some fluffy, feel-good stuff. Culture has a direct, hard-hitting impact on the bottom line. It shapes everything from how motivated your employees are, to how well teams communicate, to whether people can even build trust with each other. And ultimately, that determines how well a company performs and if it can adapt to a world that's constantly changing. So here's the deal. Culture is never neutral. It's either actively helping your company create and innovate, or it's actively holding it back. It can be this incredible engine for growth, or it can be a cage that slowly strangles every new idea. There's really no in between. And you can really see the two paths a culture can take laid out here. On one side, you've got these innovative cultures. They encourage creativity, they welcome experimentation, they actually see failure as a key part of learning. But on the other side, you have these rigid, top-down cultures that fight change and are absolutely terrified of failure. Now, which one do you think is going to come up with the next big thing? All right, to really see this in action, let's pull back the curtain on one of the most famous examples out there. We're going inside Google, because they didn't just get lucky with innovation, they literally designed a culture to produce it. And this is the core insight, right? The folks at Google understood from the very beginning that if they wanted truly groundbreaking ideas, they couldn't command them into existence. They had to create an open, trusting environment where creativity could just happen. So how on earth did they do that? Well, one of their most legendary initiatives was called 20% time. I want you to imagine this. Your boss telling you to spend one full day every week, 20% of your time, working on any project you want, as long as you think it might help the company. I mean, that is a radical amount of freedom and trust. And you can see the simple genius of this process. Step 1, you give smart, talented people the freedom to chase their own ideas. Step 2, you actually support them when they come up with something interesting. And the result, you get these incredible, groundbreaking innovations that you could never, ever have planned for in some top-down strategy meeting. And you gotta understand, this wasn't just a fun little perk to keep employees happy. This huge cultural bet on trusting people led to actual billion-dollar side projects. Some of the most successful products Google ever launched were born not from a strategic directive, but from someone's personal passion project. So what do you think? What kind of world-changing products, stuff that billions of us use every single day, actually started out as just a little side project for a Google engineer on their 20% time? Yep, Gmail. One of the biggest email platforms on the entire planet didn't come from a market research team. It started because one employee was frustrated with existing email and thought, hey, I can build something better. And it didn't stop there. Google News, the service that completely changed how a lot of us consume news online, also started its life in that exact same creative space. It's just a perfect example of what happens when a culture truly, genuinely trusts its people. Okay, so what's the big takeaway here? What's the lesson from the Google experiment that we can apply to any company, any team, anywhere? How do we decode our own culture's DNA? If you remember one thing from this explainer, let it be this. Company culture is not a perk. It's not about the free snacks or the ping pong table. It is a powerful strategic tool. It's either the rich, fertile soil where innovation and growth can happen, or it's the dry, barren ground where every good idea goes to die. And so that brings us to a final question for you. It doesn't matter if you're a leader or part of a team. What's just one small thing your team could do tomorrow, just one tiny change to encourage a new idea? What's one step you could take to build just a little more trust and make a little more space for that next breakthrough to emerge?